But I think this is an encouragement to you moms who are like in those early years going, we got to get this figured out and it's going to be ebbing and flowing and you're always going to
Yeah.
be learning and you always are going to be making mistakes and you're always going to have to regroup. Like Yvette said, like next year, we're not going to do it that way. It didn't work. Or for me to be like, man, we finally figured this out. So it's a journey, this homeschool thing is. But the beautiful thing is we journey together.
Hey everyone, this is Yvette Hampton. Welcome back to the Schoolhouse Rocked podcast. Look who I am back with this week. Aby Rinella's back with me. Woohoo!
Hey, I've missed you.
I am so excited. It has been so long since we have recorded together. It's so sad. I was thinking about the schedule and I don't think we've recorded together since the Homegrown Generation Family Expo, which was back in March.
Right.
And
right. It just happened fast. And that wasn't even a podcast. So I don't know when the last time we podcasted was.
Too long ago.
So basically everybody here doesn't even know who I am. Hi, I'm Aby.
Well, let me introduce you to Aby Rinella, who we affectionately called Abinella around here. And I am so glad to have you with me, Aby. We're going to talk this week about just kind of this past year and what the Lord is teaching us, what he has taught us. And we're just going to have a fun conversation. This is one of my, just catching up. This is one of my favorite things to do. So I'm excited about this week. But before we get into our conversation, I want to say thank you to our sponsor, BJU Press Homeschool. Every child has a unique individual learning style. BJU Press has video lessons with engaging teachers to lead your children through each of their academic subjects. These experienced teachers will present lesson content from multiple angles so your children can absorb information at a comfortable pace. Visit their website at bjupresshomeschool.com to see what courses are available for your students. Well, Aby Rinella, welcome back to the Schoolhouse Rocked podcast. Have you forgotten about us? Like, do you remember what Schoolhouse Rocked is?
I remember what Schoolhouse Rocked is. I have a deep spot in my heart for Schoolhouse just to be with you.
I know. Do you know how many people call it Homeschool Rocked still?
Oh,
so
really?
many people.
That's
all
hilarious. Homeschool Rocked.
Homeschool Rocked.
I've never heard that. That's hilarious. No.
Really? Yeah. Oh, people call it Homeschool Rocked all the time.
Is it because they're not of the generation that knew Schoolhouse Rock?
I don't know. I think it's because it's a homeschool thing.
And homeschoolers rock.
Right. And homeschoolers rock.
That does make sense.
Yeah. And especially the movie, because the movie is called Schoolhouse Rocked, the Homeschool Revolution.
So homeschool rocked. The Schoolhouse Revolution. Something.
It is, in fact, Schoolhouse Rocked, the Homeschool Revolution. And
it's okay, people. Whatever you want to call it, just be here and hang out with us.
Yes. Yeah. And speaking of the movie, just as we're kind of recapping this past year, that is one of the exciting things that happened was that the movie is now free for people to stream.
Wow.
Yes. We have waited for this for a long time. People think that we have all the control because it's our movie and so they think we can control all the things and we can't. We actually have a distributor that we have to work with and stuff. And so it was I think it was like the week before Homegrown Generation that we were able to put the movie out for free streaming.
Wow. So where do people find that?
Schoolhouse. Well, they can find it through our website, schoolhouserocked.com, but also if they want to go straight to the movie, schoolhouserockedmovie.com.
So they can stream it off the website. They don't have to go to like Netflix or Amazon. They can go right to the website.
Yeah. It's not even available on Netflix or Amazon.
Good. So we don't have to support them and we can still watch a great movie.
Yes. Yes.
Yay.
And you can watch it for free.
Awesome.
So, for the very low price of your email address.
Oh.
That's all it costs.
There's the kicker.
Is that a high price to pay?
You have to take a minute and enter that in.
Anyway, yeah, it's been great. We have had so many people who have had access to it and been able to watch it over the last few months. And God is still moving and doing things.
That movie is amazing. And I say this all the time, but watch it with your kids.
Yeah.
Because it just, I don't know, for us, our kids have never, that's all they know is homeschool and they wouldn't want anything different. But it kind of solidified like, oh, we get it. We get why you're doing this.
Yes. Yeah.
And they walked away like excited.
Yeah. Yes.
So.
Yeah. It's been a journey. I can't believe it's been out for, a year and a half now. It's been a while. And so God is good. He's still using it.
Wow.
And so we love having the podcast. It's so fun. I got to do an interview recently with someone and I was talking about the movie and how it's so cool how the Lord just orchestrated through the production of the movie to start this podcast because we had access to all of these different cast members and homeschool leaders who were in the movie. And that's how the podcast was kind of born. And we are now almost 6 years into doing the podcast, which is incredible. And God is using the podcast to bring further weekly encouragement
Wow.
to people. And so it has been really just neat to see how the Lord has used, all of it together to just encourage homeschool families and
That's
talk about
crazy. I
family
didn't realize it
discipleship.
was that long.
Yeah.
But that means
Yeah.
that's a dude, because I think it was 2019 when you and I started.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. It's been a long time.
Wow.
So, yeah,
Do
it's
I
good.
look
And we're still going
older?
strong.
Just kidding.
I know I do. It's funny because I keep thinking like, are we going to run out of things to talk about on the podcast? And the Lord is so faithful that he continues to just bring people and
That
guests.
cool.
And I mean, sometimes we talk about the things that we've already talked about, but in a different way.
Right.
And
But sometimes
so,
those things are things we need to keep hearing. I
oh,
mean, we need to keep hearing those things.
yeah.
I mean, so it's necessary.
Yes. Yeah, totally. I mean, but if you think about any podcast, they all pretty much have a theme,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Right. Totally.
Trim Healthy Mamas talk about
Trim healthy
nutrition and
mamas.
health.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
they keep talking about the same thing over and over and over again,
Right.
but in a different way. And
Right.
so, yeah, so the podcast has been so fun. And we are so blessed that the Lord allows us to keep
So
doing this. We
awesome.
love it so much. I love talking to my guests and knowing that other people are on the other side of the microphone and the camera, and just being able to encourage them through truth and God's word and the amazing people that God brings on. So anyway, but that's not what we're here to talk about. I
No.
just want to talk about kind of the year. Like
Oh,
what has your year? It's been weird. You and I have been so busy this year that we have not had a ton of time to even catch up. I mean, we
no.
text and
But
we
just a good
Voxer and
long
stuff, but
conversation of catch up hasn't
right.
happened.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Is
So
it
give
as
us a
kids get
recap.
older? Is it as kids get busier? I don't know.
Yeah, I think all of the things.
Yeah.
Life is just demanding. I know that you have spent a lot of time this year fighting for
Oh
homeschool
my
freedom
word.
in your state. So maybe you can share a little bit about that with us. But
Yeah.
give us kind of a recap of your year, Abby. What has it looked like for you and your family?
I'm glad that you mentioned that because I totally forgot about that. So, was like all consuming. Maybe I've like put it on the back of my brain because I can't even wrap my head around it. So, okay, I'll just go like I'm going to do a timeline. So, fall for us, well, this was new this year. We started school at the beginning of August, this last year, I mean. And we've never done that. We usually start beginning of September, but as everybody knows, well, maybe you don't know if you're new here, we're a huge hunting family. So the fall we spend in the back country a lot. So this year I'm like, August is miserable and hot. No one, like, it's just awful, which for us, that means it's 90 degrees with zero humidity. We have no humidity at 90 degrees and we're all dying. So I'm
You're
like,
funny.
August, we need to be in the house anyway, which we don't have AC, but the house stays cool. So I'm like, we're going to start school in August. This is the beauty of homeschool is you just work it for your family. And it was so awesome to be like, okay, we're hot, we're miserable anyway. Let's just do school in August. And then we could take off the fall or, a good chunk of the fall and do our hunting and then came back to school. So that was awesome. And then, do you want a total recap? So then December comes or Thanksgiving comes and we get sick. And I had
Yeah,
the
you
best.
guys were really
Oh,
sick.
so sick. And I had December, like I'm the mom that's like, I had all the things for Christmas, you guys, like all the amazing things. We had, surprises to take the kids to a Christmas play. Elf was playing live, like, hello. And like all these really fun, great things. And we got so sick and we missed everything. And I was so devastated, like completely devastated because I was the planning mom and I thought I have to make Christmas amazing and I only have this many Christmases and it has to be magical. And finally one of my kids looked at me and they're like, Mom, you're the only one that's all worked up about this. Like why can't you just like totally be at peace that we're going to be home playing games and reading books? Like, isn't that enough? And here I am like, that's what I preach to people is
Right.
that's enough. Like that's what I talk about is we don't have to do all the things. But anyway, it was the greatest lesson in December for me to just release it to the Lord, completely just release it and surrender it to God. And then we ended up we were sick for 5 weeks, like literally in the home. And it ended up being my favorite Christmas because when I finally released all my expectations and all my thoughts and just embraced what God had for us and realized that God's plan A is usually my plan B and his is way better. then we had the best Christmas ever. So that was our last year. And then January came and we were like, get us out. Like we are finally better. We were all cracking. So we spent a lot of time like making up for lost time. And then February came and we had the most brutal legislative session in Idaho for homeschooling, not for
Hmm.
anything else. I mean, we rocked it in every other area, but man, you guys, there is a fight for our homeschool freedoms, even in the most conservative states.
Yeah.
And so it was just nonstop standing and defending our homeschool freedoms and educating parents about the dangers of school choice and the dangers of taking government money for homeschooling
Yeah.
and the absolute threat that is to our children's future for homeschooling and their children's future. So that was an exhausting legislative season, but God was faithful and he honored us and we got by another season somewhat. I mean, somewhat. There was some stuff that passed through that was a disappointment, and then we went into spring. And for us, spring is more spring hunting.
You guys had a long snow season too,
Oh
right?
my
It seemed
word.
like there was snow on the ground forever.
It never went away. In May, we got 18 inches.
That's
We
crazy.
just, I don't know when you're going to air this, but it is the second week in May. And this was the first weekend that the snow finally left. We finally lost snow this weekend.
Wow.
And it started in the beginning of November. So that was a long, and everybody's like, but you love snow. And I'm like, I love snow in the winter. I don't love
Right.
snow in May.
When it's supposed to be sunny
I
and flowers
know.
blooming and yeah. Oh,
So we finally got to the point at the first week of May where I sent the kids out with shovels and I told them to shovel the snow that was in the yard onto the street and just find some grass. So they were shoveling the yard out.
nice. Looking for those little blades of grass.
Oh, but do you know what's so cool is the tulips came up through the snow.
Really?
I mean, and there are so many amazing
Wow.
spiritual thoughts to that, but it's like, I mean, God is in charge of the seasons and the tulips are
Yeah.
going to do what the tulips are going to do. And as much control as we think we have, like in December of my life, when I thought I had all the control and God showed me I didn't. And then the snow, it's like those little tulips knew that they were created to come up and they came up through the snow. And it was so cool. There were so many cool lessons through that.
Yeah. Did you
So
take pictures of those?
I think and that isn't the first time. We've had the tulips come up through the snow quite a
So
few times.
cool though.
But I know they're just hardy little mountain tulips.
Yeah, that's
Can't keep
awesome.
them down.
We need to see
Ah.
Abby's tulips. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. We want to thank all of our sponsors for making this show possible: BJU Press Homeschool, CTC Math, Apologia, and IEW. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do this. Visit the show notes for links to these great companies and thank them for supporting the Schoolhouse Rocked podcast. We are back with Aby Rinella. So that was, you've had quite a year. How has it been for your kids? Like, talk about your homeschooling this past year. What does that look like for you? Because you had a freshman this year. This was
Oh
your
my
first year
goodness.
doing
Yeah,
high school.
I know. And you know what's crazy is it's not any different. Like
Right.
everybody's like, "Ooh, homeschooling, high schooling, that's so scary. Like we got to
Right.
put them back in the school or I'm not equipped." And I'm like, if nobody told me that she was in ninth grade, like it's the same thing, you guys. Like it's
Yeah.
not scary. It's not, I mean, you're still educating your child. You're still coming together as a family. You're
Yeah.
still, for me, all it means is I'm writing a few more things down to make
Right. Right.
transcripts. Like
Yeah.
that's it. I mean, that's literally the only difference.
Right.
So we still do all of our core subjects together. She still does math and I mean, it's really not different. The difference is for my heart because I am now counting down the years rather than counting up. So
Yeah.
last night the kids, because we're in that time of year where the kids are like, are we almost done? Right? Like, are we done? And my ninth grader says, I only have 3 more years because right now they just want to get up and go outside. Like
Yeah.
they don't want to have to do any school right now. So she's like,
Which
I only
being
have,
outside of school,
which totally, I mean, you know us, like 90%
they
of
don't
our
want to
school is
do
outside.
like the academic-y type
Okay,
stuff.
my kids want to hike and ride their bikes on the mountain trails all day, every day. Like they
Yeah.
don't want to stop. So they're like, are we almost done? And then my son goes, how many years are there again that you school? Like, it's just funny to hear kids because when they're not in the public school, they're not like numbered.
Right.
Like, it's not like they're like, I'm in this grade and I have. So it's just funny to hear homeschool kids. And my daughter goes, there's 12 and he's in 6th grade. And he goes, wait, that means I'm only halfway there. And it like dawned on him. It was so
That's
hilarious
funny.
because he's already like, I'm getting a job. I need to get a car so I can go do. And he just dawned on him that he's 12. Like, you're only 12. Slow
Oh.
down. So, no, it was an amazing school year. And, it was fun. I love having a high schooler, Yvette. I don't know why the world scares you about it, but to me, I'm like, these are the fruits of my labor. Like,
Yeah.
I love the little years where you're teaching them to read and you're adding and all that. I love it. But it is so fun to get to those older years and have the deep conversations and like listen to your kids challenge you with things like, well, what
Mhm.
about this? And what about that? And like it's the fruits of your labor. And it's really, really neat. It's
Yeah.
maybe one of my I say this every single season. Every season I say this is my favorite season. But I'm really enjoying it. And I know you feel the same way about having the
Yeah.
older kids.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Exactly. I mean, from the time they were born, I feel like this is my favorite. This is
Yes,
my favorite. This is my
totally.
favorite.
Yep.
Except for threes. That was not my favorite.
Oh,
I
really?
did not like year 3.
Oh,
Well, with one of my children in particular,
it is a
um,
challenge.
was a very, I mean, that between 3 and 4, probably
Yeah.
3 and 4 together were painful,
Yeah.
for everybody. Um, but the Lord was refining all of us at that time,
Yes.
still is,
Yes.
of course.
Always.
But yeah, I mean, there were fun times then too. But yes, as my girls are getting older, it is so rewarding to have for me. It's not even the academics, but the relationship
Yes,
that I
that's what
have
it
with
is.
my
Yeah.
girls. And Brooklyn, my oldest, she's just wrapped up her junior year,
Oh,
and she's going to
man.
be a senior. And
Ah.
I can't get it out of my mind. I mean, every day, constantly, I'm thinking we only have 1 year left with her, and not like we're going to kick her to the curb
Right.
when she graduates high school, but she's going to be an adult this year. This
That's
year,
so
at the end of
amazing.
December, she will actually be a legal adult.
Right.
And it's exciting and it's scary all at the same time. I mean, that's way more scary to me than high school. And
Yeah.
I kind of did that same thing. I was like, oh no, high school, I'm so scared,
Right.
because I thought it was scary. And then we got into it and I was like,
This
oh
is
yeah,
not
it's
any
it's just the
different.
same. And like you said, it's just keeping more documentation
Right.
and transcripts and all that stuff. But that's easy to do.
Yeah.
Once you do it, have someone help you if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
That's what I did. Um, but yeah, there is something about getting to this last year
Ugh.
where I almost feel like, okay, what things do we need to do? What have we missed? And how do we make this last year her best year?
Right.
And it's this year has been weird for us. I did the total like do as I say, not as I do, because I don't know what I was thinking last summer. We signed up for some co-op classes for both my girls, and both my girls they did different co-ops. So
Okay.
Lacey's co-op was on Thursdays, and she just took a couple classes, but it was like the early morning class, the first class of the morning, and then the very last class of the day.
Ugh.
And I just did not think clearly through it. I kind of signed up in haste because those were the classes and we had some things going on at the time. We were actually getting ready to travel. It was last summer. And I just was like, okay, yeah, we'll sign up for these classes, but didn't look at the schedule. Well, it was too far for me to come home in between classes.
Oh my
So we just had to
goodness.
stay all day. So Thursday, we were there all day, which was great. Like we had, she got to hang out with the other kids and I got to hang out with the other moms. And it was really fun for relationships, but we were gone all day Thursday. And
Which
then
if both of
Brooklyn's,
your girls aren't in it, that would be one thing if
right,
both kids, but that's just
right.
one.
That was
Okay.
just one. That's the
Right.
thing. And then Brooklyn did a different co-op because the one that Lacey didn't have classes that she wanted to take. And so
Oh
she
my
wanted to take
goodness.
culinary and home ec and an art class and a couple of others. And so hers were on Wednesdays and Mondays and Wednesdays.
Oh my goodness.
So then, and I record on Tuesdays typically. And so
So you
Monday,
had
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we were
Fridays, which
like,
everybody's like, yeah, Friday's out anyway.
right. Well, and then Friday we're trying to like catch up with life
Right.
and laundry and grocery shopping and just all the things.
Oh my
And
goodness.
so this year has been overwhelming. Just the schedule has been crazy. So I'm like, okay, this next year we're going to do one
Back it
co-op
up.
for both girls. Let them choose, one or two classes that they want to take, and we'll be there on the same day, and then we won't be completely
Smart.
overwhelmed with our schedule. And so, of course, Brooklyn has seniority.
Because she's
for
a
Lacey
senior.
because she's a senior. And yeah, and so we haven't even figured it out for this next
Oh,
year. Now
isn't
we're
it crazy though to think like when I was a new to homeschool mom, like I had littles, I was like those older moms, like us now, or the older moms,
Mhm.
like they've got it all figured out. Like it's easy for them; they've got it all figured out. And like when I listened to you, and then I had an experience this year that I was like, how did it take me to now to figure? Like you would have thought that you would have had that
right,
figured out, that you wouldn't have done that
right.
in your
You would think.
senior, yeah. And this year I figured something out that I'm like, how am I just figuring out this now with a high schooler and a middle schooler and an elementary schooler? But so our schedule has always been we get up and we do, when the kids are little, we do like the morning basket. You know what I mean? The
Yeah,
morning time
yeah.
together. And then everybody goes to their independent work. And then we have lunch. And always after lunch is when we do our history and our science and our together stuff. Right.
Right.
And for some reason, I was like, that whole 4 hour school day, like that's not happening around here. Because it was like after lunch, we start the subjects that I really do love that we
Mhm.
wanted to deep dive in and that we wanted to like enjoy. But then it's like 2 o'clock and everybody's done. We just want to go.
Right.
So, but that's how we've done it for years. So this year, I don't know why this took me this long to figure out, but now we don't necessarily do the morning basket thing because my kids are a little older, but we still get together in the morning. We do our Bible like we have always done. And then instead of having the kids go do their independent work, I just keep them because their focus is already there. And that's when we're doing history and science and stuff. And then after that, I basically release everybody to do their independent work. And then they can do it as fast as they want, as slow as they want. When they're done, they can go outside, they can go do whatever they want. Where before, it was like, well, we all have to get together and do this afternoon thing, whether you're done or not. Anyway, we finally figured this out this far into our homeschool journey. And we're now all done by noon. Like this far into our homeschool journey, I've gotten this working for our family. But I also have learned that once you get it working one year, that does not mean it's going to work the next year.
Right.
But I think this is an encouragement to you moms who are like in those early years going, we got to get this figured out and it's going to be ebbing and flowing and you're always going to
Yeah.
be learning and you always are going to be making mistakes and you're always going to have to regroup. Like Yvette said, like next year, we're not going to do it that way. It didn't work. Or for me to be like, man, we finally figured this out. So it's a journey, this homeschool thing is. But
Right.
the beautiful thing is we journey together, and
Yeah.
there aren't mistakes. There's just learning processes, and you guys
Right.
gained a lot from your very busy, insane,
Right.
crazy year.
Yes. Yeah. It has been a good year, of learning and building relationships. Brooklyn took a class this year called Intro to Emergency Medicine, and
Ah,
it was basically a paramedics class,
yeah.
and she absolutely loved it. And so
That's so
she's
cool.
like, if there's an emergency, I can take care of our family. And I'm
Ah!
like, that's great.
Oh,
And so, yeah, it's just been fun to just see them both grow in so many different ways.
yeah.
And we've had challenges, and
Yep.
the Lord has grown us through those as well. And so it's been a good year.
That's
So
awesome.
far, just our schedule's been totally insane. And so
Uh-huh.
I'm like, both girls' co-ops ended the last week, and I was like, oh,
Oh,
praise the
phew.
Lord. Like, I am so glad
Uh,
that they're over
but you
for
know
the
what's
year.
cool
So
is
anyway,
God could use that to help you guys then love being not going next year.
yes,
Sometimes you have to go for everybody to appreciate slowing down and being at home.
right. Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Absolutely. So we're out of time, but
oh
we're
my
going to come
goodness,
back on
already?
Wednesday. Yeah,
Whew.
I know. I know. Time flies when
Well,
you're
we
having fun,
recapped our
Abby.
years. That's pretty good. We
Yeah,
just did a whole year in
right.
30 minutes.
Well, we have lots more to talk about. So we are going to come back on Wednesday and talk about those things. And like we mentioned at the beginning, if you guys have not yet watched the movie Schoolhouse Rocked, The Homeschool Revolution, go to our website, schoolhouserocked.com, or you can go straight to the movie website at schoolhouserockedmovie.com and watch it. Watch it with your friends, watch it with your kids, watch it with your family, watch it with your dog if you have a dog. We don't have a dog. Abby has a dog. I
Yeah,
don't like dogs.
I know.
I shouldn't say that out loud because
No, but you
people
just
think,
did, and it's
I
on
know, I just
forever
did.
recorded
Maybe
into the
Garrett will
universe.
have to edit that out.
Nope, he can't. It's forever out there.
It's
You're
forever.
entitled.
I know.
It's not that you don't
I'm
like
just not.
dogs, it's that you don't want a dog as a pet. But God created dogs, so dogs are an animal that has a necessity. No, you just don't like dogs, period.
I just don't like dogs.
Oh, well, there you go. She doesn't like dogs, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it here
Here's the
first.
thing. I appreciate what dogs do for other families. Like, I can appreciate a farm dog big time. If I had a farm, I would have a dog outside
Yeah,
to help
protecting your
protect my farm.
animals.
And I appreciate that
A
people have
hunting dog?
dogs to
right?
A hunting dog?
Right? A dog that goes and
Right.
gets me ducks so that I
Right.
don't have to go into the cold river in my waders.
Exactly.
See?
Exactly.
There you
I
go.
can appreciate that people enjoy
Or
their
last
dogs.
night when there was raccoons in my backyard and the dog had to let everybody know, which was nice. But I thought,
Yeah.
wow, if there was an intruder, my dog would also
Right.
make that very known.
See, there are benefits
There
for
are.
sure.
The shedding.
In all fairness, I don't like cats either.
Oh, there
We
you
do
go.
have a fish.
I don't like fish.
Oh.
We had a
We have a-
goldfish once and I couldn't handle it. I can keep 3 kids, a dog, and a cat alive, and I could not keep that goldfish. Goldfish are too much for me. They put me over the top.
Oh, that's so funny. No, the fish is Lacey's. It's a beta fish. And the fish's name is Captain Bubbles.
Oh my gosh, that's cute. But what is the point? We can talk about this Wednesday, but I want to know what is the point? What's the point?
Well, that's the big cliffhanger then. We'll
Okay,
just
come
leave it
back
there.
on Wednesday and we're going to tell you, spoiler
point
alert, there's
of
no
Captain
point
Bubbles.
of Captain Bubbles.
All right. We'll see you back here then. Bye.
Education is discipleship, and this is something I didn't understand until I was probably 3 years into homeschooling. The Bible teaches us in Luke 6:40 that when a student is fully trained, he will be like his teacher. And as we look around the culture right now, I think it begs the question, who is teaching our children? Who is teaching our children, and what are they teaching our children? And to me, the primary benefit of having my children home with me is I am able to impart my worldview to my children.